Last topic of the day. I gotta ask y'all, the state of horror games. Why are all of them Dead by Daylight ripoffs? I've been noticing.
That's a fantastic question, Howard.
Yeah, I've been noticing because I looked at like the games that came out this year. The Evil Dead game, Dragon Ball Z Time Breakers, Resident Evil Reverse, Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I'm noticing this trend of why are they all trying to be like Dead by Daylight? If you don't know what Dead by Daylight is, it is a multiplayer game. It's called an asymmetrical multiplayer game. One player plays someone who's super buff and can basically wipe out the other four, and the other four players have to work together to either avoid or get rid of this guy, right? So for Dead by Daylight, it's like they have, licensed, and some of their own original monsters, and the monsters hunt the people, and they have to escape the area with the monster. Simple premise, game successful. I bought it, I played it, I had fun. It has a bunch of iconic horror monsters already, like the Ring Girl. It has Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. It has Nemesis from Resident Evil, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, surprisingly, since they're making their own, Pinhead, Jigsaw, Wesker from Resident Evil. There's a lot. They even had Stranger Things. They had Stranger Things.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Which is not in the game anymore, right?
Yeah, because they took it out because of the new Netflix game thing. We talked about it. Also, check that video out. But, so it's now really weird how every horror game is now basically...
Especially a lot of licensed horror games.
Yeah, because these are all licensed. To note, I also didn't actively try to find any games that were non-licensed. Mm-hmm. There could be a large amount of them in the Steam indie section that are also like this. And I didn't even count the ones that didn't... I actually put a range on this, to be totally fair. I picked January 1st of this year and the end of January next year. I had that big a list of games. I'm not including the Hello Neighbor asymmetrical one. I'm not including Friday the 13th. I'm not including Predator Hunting Grounds. I'm not counting Amogus, okay? I didn't stop laughing, all right? This is serious. It's serious, okay? But like, okay, how do I put this into the nicest way possible? None of these games are scary. Because when you play with other people, it's not scary anymore.
Stressful? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But stressful and scary are two entirely different things. And these are horror games. They're supposed to be scary. And yeah, I get that when you are playing with people, it can take away a lot of the horror of that. I mean, you and I, Howard, we've played a bunch of horror games, and we played Outlast, and we were just joking the whole time about the big buff guy. We just called him Shrek.
Okay, but in my defense, Outlast is not scary.
True. True.
Don't shoot the messenger. I was just bored and wanted to call him Shrek.
There was a reason for us doing it. I don't remember.
Because I think I thought it'd be really funny if every single time he spawned, because he kept spawning, All-Star would start playing.
Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But like, why do they all gotta be ripoffs of Dead by Daylight if Dead by Daylight's still like active?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like, it's way older than a 5-year-old game now. It's older than Overwatch, like 1. It's a very long-running game, and we should be proud because it was an indie game that's now a huge hit.
Yeah.
But it's kind of giga cringe that there's now, in this year alone, that I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ripoffs in the same year. And that's a majority of horror releases this year. It's just Dead by Daylight.
Yeah. And again, don't get us wrong. I mean, we already said, like, it's fun. Dead by Daylight is fun.
It's a fun game.
I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of it, but the few times I have played it, I had a blast. But when you're bringing in, big established franchises like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Evil Dead and Killer Clowns.
Dragon Ball Z.
And Dragon Ball for some reason. It's like you could do so much more with those franchises than just another Dead by Daylight clone. And I think that's really the big problem here, is that there's not enough variety.
Yeah, because like what? All horror games for the next 2 years are Dead by Daylight clones. Games that are little kids, like T-rated horror games, like FNAF, right? And the third option is remakes of already established horror games.
Exactly.
Like, there's not a lot of variety there.
No, like just off the top of my head, if you want to do an Evil Dead game, you could just make it like Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Because did not Resident Evil 4 take a lot of inspiration from Evil Dead with its campiness?
Yes. Yes, it did. You are 110% correct.
So why not just do it and make it a Resident Evil type survival horror game?
Yeah, like
to me, that just seems like the most obvious choice.
Or like, why can't you just, or like for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, why can't it just be like, why does it have to be multiplayer? Why can't I just play as Leatherface and do stuff? Or counterpoint, why can't you play as a person stuck in the house?
That makes so much more sense. Like,
and have to avoid everyone?
Here's the thing. With Texas Chainsaw Massacre specifically, I could see it working if you take part of the multiplayer part out. Take the part out where you can play as Leatherface and just have 4 survivors.
That's way much of a better idea. That's so much better.
I just took one tiny thing out, and I've already made a better game for you.
Yeah, and then we have like Reverse, which I don't believe that game still even exists, but apparently comes out.
Isn't it? It's like coming out like soon, right?
It's coming out this week.
Yeah.
Dave. It's coming out this Friday.
And so this, because I have this here, this Reverse was advertised with Resident Evil Village. I have the insert I have the code to play the game. Blur that out. I don't want anyone stealing my code. Just because I forgot I had this.
Why don't you just go home, put in the code, and then have people think, haha, this idiot has the code, but you redeemed it already?
I mean, it doesn't expire until $27.99.
Oh, thank God. So, you still have time.
I have plenty of time. But yeah, so Reverse was announced like over a year ago, and there's been no promotional material for it until now because it's coming out.
Yeah, and it's like, if you were to put every single Resident Evil character like at the same time, why does it have to be Dead by Daylight?
I don't know. I mean, in that case, like, I don't know how else that would work, because that is very obviously meant to be more of a fun party kind of game.
Yeah, a party kind of game, but like, why waste the efforts on that when you can just make a better Resident Evil game?
Because they're too busy remaking every Resident Evil game in existence.
They're
too busy hard at work on the remake to Resident Evil Village. A game that's a year old.
And and then we have to talk about the ultimate fate of these games. So first of all, Dead by Daylight still has success because they constantly update it. They constantly put in new killers. They constantly put in new survivors. As we can tell by Friday the 13th and Secret Neighbors, these games die if you don't...
What is Secret Neighbors?
That was the Hello Neighbor Dead by Daylight game, where you played as either 4 kids or you played as the Hello Neighbor guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right.
So, like, as you can see with these games, they don't do good if you don't update them. As you can tell, because Friday the 13th has their servers, like official servers, shut down, and no one plays Secret Neighbor.
To be fair, the reason Friday the 13th servers shut down is because of the big lawsuit surrounding that entire franchise.
Oh, yes. But however, at that point, was there really that much traffic by the time it shut down?
I want to say there was.
It's not that. Like, listen, that was like, what, 3 years after the game came out? The reason it got traffic is because it was free on PS Plus, like
True.
right before it shut down.
That is true.
And no, you can still play it because they were smart and they switch it so that you can do it's player to player instead of player to server.
Yeah.
Smart. You can still play it online, and it's still a fun game. But like, it's not as popular as Dead by Daylight, which actively updates it.
Yes.
And if these games don't actively update, they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but as much as I wanted to play the Evil Dead one, how many people do you think you can play it?
I mean, after it launched, I haven't seen many people playing it. I mean,
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like these games aren't going to be remembered fondly at all.
I mean,
because like what can you update?
To be fair, like the Evil Dead game, they have been updating it like pretty well. They've been adding like costumes and characters from across the franchise, but I mean, there's only 4 movies and a TV show.
Yeah, what can you do with that?
Yeah, Evil Dead Rise is coming out next year, but we know close to nothing about that movie at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's still only so much you can add to the game before they're like, all right, well, now what?
Because Dead by Daylight was smart. They make original characters.
Exactly.
So whenever they don't have a licensed one, they make an original one.
Yes.
And a lot of people like the original creations, like the Korean pop star who's a zombie. Like, everyone likes that guy.
Yeah.
He's fun. And even so, they don't have to stick. They can go to video games, movies, but like, Ash is even in what?
So you're saying video games. What if they had Sam
Sam?
from the Evil Dead Regeneration into the Evil Dead game?
Oh my God. Okay. Okay.
All right, whoever the developer for Evil Dead the game is, we just gave you $1 million idea.
If you don't know who Sam is, in one of the Evil Dead games, they made like a 3D beat 'em up one, and they gave Ash a little zombie sidekick who's immortal called Sam, who's played by Sam Raimi.
I think, is he Sam or Ted Raimi?
Ted Raimi, I forget.
Ted Raimi is the one who does acting usually.
I forget which one, to be totally honest.
Okay.
Because it's been like a while.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
think you probably last time you played is when you were showing me that game
yeah.
in high school.
Basically, like you can like throw him, and he's like, again, like a little a goblin guy. You
Yeah.
can just toss him, and he's immortal. He doesn't die. And that's probably the last Evil Dead character they could throw for fan service. But like, let's say I was the consumer, and I wanted to play a game like Dead by Daylight. But I don't have Dead by Daylight, so I have to choose between the Evil Dead game or Dead by Daylight. And I look, Ash is in Dead by Daylight. That loses. Dragon Ball Z Timebreakers, Goku's not in Dead by Daylight yet, so he's out, okay?
Yet.
Resident
Yet is the operative word here.
Resident Evil Reverse has like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters.
Just looking at the thing, I'm seeing Nemesis. I'm seeing, I assume that's Chris.
Yep, Chris.
Claire, Leon, Jack, Jill. I think that's supposed to be Mr. X. I can't really tell.
Or the Tyrant.
It's some sort of tyrant. Ada and Hunk.
Yeah. And
Half
like,
these characters are in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, half of them are in Dead by Daylight. And then like what? Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Leatherface is in it already. Killer
And
Clowns-
let's be honest. How many characters from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies are like memorable?
Let's see. Other than the first movie, one, and that was Arlie Ermey's character in the remake, and that's about it. And that's just because it was Arlie Ermey.
See, that's me with Texas Chainsaw 2 with Bill Moseley's character with the saw or whatever on his head. I don't
Yeah.
remember what his name is. That's it, but that's only because that's Bill Moseley.
So I guess our moral is to the people who want to keep making Dead by Daylight games, stop it. You can make something else.
Yeah.
Be smart. Be creative. The state of horror is sad year after year. I don't need it to be Dead by Daylight clones for a whole year, okay? Please. Please. I already had the children's horror thing with goddamn Poppy's Playtime and Five Nights at Freddy's. Just, I want creativity, damn it.
Yeah, we horror needs to expand. You know, I think we're fine in the movie. the movie realm, we're finally getting more like original horror movies, which is great. You know, we're getting stuff like Barbarian and Smile and Malignant. That was last year, but you know, it's okay. We're finally past that, like, oh, horror's all remakes and sequels and stuff like that. I don't care. We're finally past that. But video games, we need to kind of evolve.
Yeah, fat L on the video game
Yeah.
front.
We gotta have a little more variety in there. Otherwise, it's
Do better.
getting a little old.
You guys suck. Do better.
I'm telling you, Resident Evil 4 style survival horror game for Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying.
Take our money.